Hello, hello, everybody. This is Jeanne Marie Paynel on a Friday. What are we? Friday, April the 10th. I'm here in San Diego, raining, and I would love to know where you are calling in from. Um, Sorry, got distracted. Where you're calling in from, what your situation is in your part of the world. This is for us the fourth week in confinement during the COVID-19 2020 pandemic. Um, these are unprecedented times. I'm here for you to support you as you are home with your little ones. So I would love to know what your challenges might be. If you have any questions about implementing some structure, some, maybe some discipline situations that are going on, because this is new to all of us. So I am here to support you. And again, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Jeanne Marie Paynel. I am a parenting mentor, and I really want to be here to ease the overwhelm of parenting, especially when we are parenting little ones, and especially these days when we are possibly parenting, trying to do kind of keep up with the schoolwork, which personally I say don't worry too much about it. And also, some of you might be also working at home. So I would love to be able to support you in balancing all of that, if balancing is even a word today. So for those of you here, please let me know that you can hear me. Give me a thumbs up that you can hear me loud and clear. Let me know what your questions are, where you are tuning in from. And for those of you who will be watching the replay, hashtag replay, and let me know where you are calling from. Oh, great. Okay, you can hear me. Anu Kriti, thank you. And let me know what your situation is. How are you doing? Because this is, I want to really empower and support you to really realize that we need to be careful with kind of everything that we're hearing about, make good use of this time and be super productive and all of this, when I know for myself, it kind of took me a while to just like, what's going on? Like, this is normal. These emotions of some of it can be anger or grief or all of this, because I mean, there's people that are learning of terrible news, and so it's important to keep that in perspective, that this is not business as usual. This is something that we have never experienced in our lifetime, and we need to really readjust our thinking, our feelings, and all of this. So I really, really want to encourage you to ask this question that, I'm always saying to people, to parents especially, to ask yourself, what do you need right now? Really asking yourself, what do I need right now? Because we tend to, as parents, be there for our children, be there for our partners with other members, if we have elders that we're taking care of. So we're always, in this caregiving relationship, and we need to take good care of ourselves so that we can take care of others. And this is the only way that we are going to slow the curve, is not only staying home and, staying away from meeting up with people and such, but also staying healthy. So getting a lot of sleep, eating properly, hydrating, moving, very important to move, put on some good music, find maybe a video of an exercise class, I've been doing some Zooms with other friends. We haven't done a dance party yet, but maybe that's a good idea as well. I know there's some live dance parties going on. There's really a lot of good things out there that are supporting us as parents, as you know, as we're all staying home. So today, to help you with all this, I wanted to talk about this idea of family meetings. So family meetings are a great. Thank you for your question. Let me just talk a little bit about the family meetings first, because I mentioned this in one of my previous lives, and I promised that I would talk a little bit more about it. And so family meetings is a tool that we have in positive discipline to really encourage our children to be part of the solution. So this is oftentimes, you know, when there has been a situation, we want to be able to resolve it. Today, I would like to encourage you to adapt this concept of family meeting to have daily check-ins. Really important to have daily check-ins. So maybe let's establish around breakfast time when we come together. Now we are home, you know, there's we're all inside together. So really help, you know, and Anu Kriti is asking about keeping routine. So this to me is a really important routine, is really as you're having breakfast, or maybe once, you know, the table is clear, is to establish this idea of a family meeting, and call it whatever you want. You know, it's really a come together, whatever. But I would really encourage to have this daily check-in to see how everybody's doing, to kind of take the emotional temperature of everyone. And really there, we can also remind our children of what are the expectations, what are the routines. If you are also working, letting them know what your needs are, that, you know, at this time, I'm going to be, you know, I'm going to need to find a quiet space and have a meeting, or I need, and while I'm doing that, you can do this, and so on. So it's really about this kind of, we need, you know, a lot of companies, a lot of businesses, they do, I forget what the name of it is. I know my husband told me about it the other day, but it's kind of just a very short little meeting where we kind of just check in, let people know where we are on the project. Well, this is where we are emotionally, where we are in the activities that we want to do and such. So that would be my encouragement. And family meetings, the way that we set them up in positive discipline, is there's a real kind of sequence to it. And I can post a little bit more about it, but it's really, we always start with positive compliments, you know, the really appreciations and such of what's going on, how people are showing up, what people did. So, oh, I really love, you know, the pasta you helped me make last night, or things like that, so that it's loving and it's encouraging. And then we go through the agenda of, you know, maybe how people are feeling, and we take turns. I know when I did it in my classroom, I actually had a really nice glass ball that a parent had given us for that. So when the child was holding it, that was their opportunity to speak. And this is really encouraging too, if you have maybe a child who doesn't often speak up, or one that speaks up a lot. This really gives everybody the opportunity to say what's going on. So something that I would really encourage you, especially at these times when we feel a little bit discombobulated, that's my word for this season that we're going through, discombobulated, that it would be important to set a routine for yourself, to, you know, have that check-in and have that check-in with your children. So let me see here. So can you give some ideas on keeping up with the routine for children while adults are working from home? And what do you think about screen time at this point? From Belgium. Wonderful. So I actually will invite you, I will answer this, but I will also invite you to listen to the podcast that will go live Monday, the Art of Parenting podcast. That's my podcast. I interviewed this week Julie Bogart, who is a world-renowned homeschooler. She homeschooled 5 children, has developed this wonderful kind of curriculum around creative writing and such. But we really specifically talked about how to organize ourselves when also we have work, right? So here again, I would invite you to make the kind of the family meeting or the family check-in part of your own routine so you can let everybody know what your schedule is, because I'm sure if you are working from home, there are times when you either have to show up for a meeting or there's something that you need to turn in and all this. So you have specifics, what your schedule is. So there I would, really encourage you to share what your needs are. So you might want to, write up a calendar so that we really see, we have kind of times, maybe depending on what kind of clock you have in your home, making sure. So I don't know also how old your children are, that's going to make a difference in how you communicate that. And really making sure, and this is what Julie and I were talking about, she was saying to really make sure that there is something special to give them, to offer them. 4 years old. Okay, thank you. So 4 years old, a bit more, set in reality, conscious, they can understand these things. So really, for me, it's about having a conversation with your 4-year-old about isn't this a strange time? Mommy is home. I'm working from home. You're home. You're not going to school. So we need to work together to make sure that mommy has time to get her work done and you can do your work. So during the times that you need to get things done, what are some activities that your 4-year-old is happy to do independently? So is there a project of maybe sewing, maybe drawing, maybe looking at books, maybe a puzzle, kind of a bigger one, maybe some, depending on, where she is in writing, reading, all of this is, some of the things that she can do independently. And then, yes, there are screens that I think, for those of you who've been following me for a while, you know that I'm kind of reticent to say, use the screen. But again, we are in a very, different time. So if there is, if you need those 40 minutes or whatever, and you have a good quality, Animal Planet or something that is going to engage the child. I wouldn't do, these fast-paced cartoons and things like that. I think it just excites the brain way too much. So something quieter. It could also be some audiobooks, like a nice story. I know there's beautiful podcasts for children. So really finding, again, solutions with your child and really sharing what your needs are and saying, I need this time, looking on a clock, letting her know. Maybe there's, if you have a big, one of those sand timers, things like that, where you need to be creative. My first live was about be creative. This is a time that we have never experienced. So we need to really reflect on what we need and how our child can be part of that solution. So, when you ask, what do you think about screen time at this point? I say it's okay. I wouldn't abuse of it, but, make it a special thing where it's only when, I need to work and focus and I have a meeting or some phone calls to make or such, so that it doesn't become kind of the all day situation. And then making sure that when you are able to break from your work, to really thank the child and also do something with them so that there's a real, again, connection, because I think we really, really, really need connection these days. And our children are sensing our emotions. They see that we are bewildered and discombobulated and things aren't the same, and they might see us sad and worried and all of that. So it's really, really important to connect with them, to reassure them and such, so that they feel safe. They are, and I think it's really about collaboration, about finding solutions together. So I hope that was helpful in how we can work with our children at home. And it's really important to remember that play is the work of the child. So really, reminding them, you're doing your work, I'm doing my work, and we're going to do this together. And when we're both done, we can do something together. Go out for a walk if you can. Put on some music and dance. Do something fun together that are going to help you also, get rid of your nervous energy as well. And then the other thing that I would say is, if you have the flexibility of your schedule, I might, also use the quiet times and the nap times to get some work done. I might be working at night once the children are asleep. So that might mean that you are going to take some naps during the day. So again, we need to be creative. We need to ask ourselves, what's working for me? What do I need? And really sharing with our child that we need them to help us find a solution, because this is a funny, a strange time, and let's find a solution together. So hopefully that was helpful. And again, I will encourage all of you, to maybe go back at the beginning where I share about family meetings, in the sense that today I would encourage you not necessarily to have the full-on structure of the family meeting, but really a daily check-in with everybody that is in your home, so that is part of the routine, and we can really come together, check in, see how everybody is feeling. Yesterday morning I woke up extremely sad. I cried myself to sleep the night before. It was just, I think the emotions are coming up. I've learned of somebody in my community who passed, and young mother. It just was too much, and I had to, check in, and I told my husband, I need to connect. I need to talk about this. He's been very busy working and such, and so we're fortunate that we're both able to continue working. I've always worked from home, at least these past 10 years, so this is nothing too unusual for me. It is unusual that my husband is home and my son is home, but it's, we're checking in with each other, we're making things work. But I think it's important to voice the emotions, and I think it's really important to take time to listen also to our children's emotions. Very important to connect, and to to not sweep it under the rug because it's like, oh, they're too young, they don't understand. The amazing thing about children is they pick up on everything. They pick up on the energy. They pick up on our emotions. So they see us, sad or anxious, or a lot on the phone, looking up at the news and things like that. So they know something's going on. So you don't need to necessarily go into the details unless they are older, and there are some wonderful, children's explanation about the virus, about all of that. Very important to share. But for the younger ones, it's really about keeping them connected and feeling safe. very important. And I think the daily check-in will also help with that, so we can plan the day. We know that children need routine and want routine and like to know what to expect. So if we can kind of, have a daily check-in of, today let's, make bread, or will you help me make a soup, or whatever is going on. It is a time where I'm hoping that you're taking the opportunity to do a lot of these things with your child, because cooking, cleaning, folding, laundry, all of that, these are amazing activities to do with young children. They actually enjoy them. We consider them to be chores, but they actually really enjoy them. So I would, encourage you to have them participate in whatever you need to be doing. That, you now have help at home with you that is probably a bit clingy, a bit, wanting to be connected. So involve them in everything that you're doing, and then also, help them find solutions so that you can have your time to focus on your work as well. So I hope that was helpful. Again, for those of you on the replay, please let me know where you're tuning in from, how things are going for you. Are you confined? I'm assuming most of the planet is confined today, but we have, different levels of it. I'm here in San Diego. It's actually been raining for a few days. And I am in my 4th week of confinement, and it's a strange time, but I feel blessed and grateful to have a roof above my head, to have food in my refrigerator, that my husband and I are still working. All of this because it saddens me to see how much havoc this is causing for many, many families around the world, and here in the US, and so forth. So I am sending lots and lots of love and courage to all of you, and please let me know if you have any questions about navigating these very bizarre times with our little ones. There are many, I know many of you have reached out, questions about, siblings and working at home and all of that. So please don't hesitate to reach out. And again, I will remind you, on Monday, the Art of Parenting podcast is a special episode about the home education and working from home and how to make all that work. Alrighty, Jeanne Marie Paynel here, wishing you a lovely weekend, and I will be back next Friday. Alrighty, bye-bye for now.